But he's mine. Jenny gave him to me.
What your ma gonna say when you come home with that dog? She ain't gonna allow you to...
What if I told you that Walt Disney's company introduced a 13-year-old to pills and then blacklisted him for the addiction they created? What if the most wholesome studio in America handed amphetamines to children as vitamins? And what if Hollywood's greatest stars didn't die from excess, but from a system designed to destroy them? This isn't gossip. This is evidence of an industry built on the systematic destruction of the very people who made it wealthy. The boy who never grew up but died too soon. Let's start with the most heartbreaking case. Bobby Driscoll, Disney's golden boy who died alone on a filthy mattress, his body unclaimed and his identity forgotten. When Walt Disney needed the perfect all-American boy, he chose Bobby Driscoll. With expressive eyes and natural talent, Driscoll became Disney's first contract child actor and the voice of Peter Pan. Then he hit puberty, and Disney threw him away like garbage. According to a Disney historian, they didn't just fire him when his face changed, they blacklisted him and told other studios he was difficult. The same company that worked him 60-hour weeks as a child made sure he couldn't get work anywhere else. The psychological devastation was immediate. Imagine being the most special child in America one day, then worthless the next. By 17, he was self-medicating with alcohol, then heroin. But here's the sickening truth. Disney taught me to use drugs. He confided to a friend before his death. The studio gave me pills to stay awake, pills to sleep. I was using before I even knew what addiction was. Let that sink in. The company synonymous with childhood innocence introduced Driscoll to pharmaceuticals as a professional tool when he was still losing baby teeth. In 1968, children playing in an abandoned building discovered a body on a cot, surrounded by religious pamphlets and empty bottles, with no identification and a face unrecognized from his famous childhood. The man was buried as a John Doe. It would be nearly a year before fingerprint records identified him. He was just 31 years old. The company that once put his face on lunchboxes never acknowledged his death.
My eyesight is so bad, it's getting difficult to read either the...
MGM's chemical casualty. Here's something that will make your blood boil. What if the first pills Judy Garland ever took were forced on her by studio executives when she was just 13 years old? The most sickening part of Judy Garland's story isn't that she died of a barbiturate overdose. It's how it began. According to a former MGM employee, they didn't just suggest she take amphetamines. They had studio doctors administer them while her mother watched. They called them pep pills and told this child they were vitamins. When she got hungry, they gave her appetite suppressants. When she couldn't sleep, they gave her barbiturates. This was systematic chemical management of a child's body to maintain the shooting schedule for The Wizard of Oz and subsequent films. By 16, Garland was fully dependent on the up-or-downer cycle, a dependency she didn't choose and didn't initially understand. Studio head Louis B. Mayer and his fixers managed her doses, monitored her weight, and controlled every aspect of her developing body through pharmaceuticals. As her biographer explained, they gave her pills to wake up, pills to sleep, pills to eat, pills to not eat. Then they lectured her about self-control when she couldn't function without the very chemicals they had made her dependent on. When MGM finally fired her in 1950 after 15 years of chemical manipulation, they didn't offer rehab. They labeled her difficult and unreliable. Industry code words for an addict they created but no longer wanted to manage. She died alone in a rented London bathroom. She was 47 but looked 67. Her body aged decades beyond its years by the chemical assault that began when she was still playing with dolls. The beauty who drank to survive. Some stars turned to drugs for recreation.
Where are you going?
I'm going to drop you off at your house.
Where are you going? I'm going with you.
Gail Russell turned to alcohol for survival because it was the only way she could face the camera that terrified her. According to a film historian, Paramount saw a beautiful face and threw her in front of cameras without a minute of acting training. She was pathologically shy, trembling with stage fright so severe she would vomit before scenes. Instead of training her gradually, they told her to drink. Directors and crew members would literally hand her drinks before difficult scenes. The studio system had no patience for psychological support. Alcohol was faster, cheaper, and immediately effective. Take the edge off. they told the terrified young woman. Just a few drinks to calm your nerves. Those few drinks became a dependency so severe it transformed her from one of Hollywood's most ethereal beauties to a bloated, trembling wreck within. Just a few years. The gut-wrenching part? Russell wasn't even interested in being an actress. Paramount talent scouts discovered her while she was attending art school, pursuing her actual passion. They seized on her extraordinary face, forced her into a profession that triggered her deepest anxieties, then chemically managed those anxieties with a substance that would destroy her. Russell died alone in her apartment in 1961, surrounded by empty bottles. She was 36, but looked decades older. Her body wasn't discovered for days. When beauty shattered.
I must say, it's a pleasure to be here.
Montgomery Clift was considered Marlon Brando's only true rival, the sensitive leading man whose emotional range and striking good looks had redefined American masculinity on screen. Then came the car crash in 1956. He survived, but the Montgomery Clift who emerged from reconstructive surgery was effectively a different person. His face permanently altered, his spirit broken. According to a close friend, he wasn't just in physical pain after the accident. He was in existential crisis. Half his identity had been tied to being the most beautiful man in movies. The mirror now showed a different person, and the pain never stopped. What followed was a pharmaceutical nightmare. Different physicians prescribed overlapping painkillers. No one monitored the dangerous combinations or escalating dosages. Clift, desperate for relief, followed doctors' orders while adding alcohol to the deadly cocktail. His biographer noted that medicine cabinets in his home looked like pharmacy shelves, bottles everywhere, many from different doctors who never consulted each other. Within 3 years, the actor once considered among Hollywood's most reliable performers was struggling to remember lines. His hands shook, his speech slurred. Insurance companies began requiring special bonds for his films. On July 23, 1966, Clift's private nurse found him dead in his New York bedroom. The official cause was heart attack, but the real killer was a decade-long pharmaceutical assault on his system. He was 45 years old. The medicine bottles found in his home, all legally prescribed, numbered over 30. The pattern that never stops. From Bobby Driscoll to Judy Garland, from Gail Russell to Montgomery Clift. These weren't random tragedies. They were the system working exactly as designed. According to an addiction specialist who has treated entertainment figures across multiple generations, studios no longer directly distribute pills to performers, but the pressure to maintain impossible schedules and appearances still creates the conditions where dependency becomes almost inevitable. Child stars were explicitly given stimulants and sedatives as professional tools, their developing brains permanently altered by studio-mandated chemical management. Adult performers received substances as solutions to professional challenges, stage fright, injury recovery, impossible schedules. As an entertainment industry historian emphasized, they weren't destroyed by drugs. They were destroyed by a system that introduced them to drugs, normalized their use as professional necessities, then discarded them when the inevitable dependencies became inconvenient. The particular cruelty lies in how it presents addiction as personal moral failure rather than predictable outcome of institutional practices. Hollywood has always excelled at rewriting history. These weren't random tragedies. They were the system extracting maximum value from talent, using chemicals to extend that value beyond natural human limits, then discarding the damaged results while accepting no responsibility. From Judy Garland to Heath Ledger, the pattern repeats with devastating regularity. The entertainment industry creates impossible demands, directly or indirectly encourages chemical solutions, then expresses shock when addiction inevitably results. These golden age casualties weren't destroyed by drugs. They were destroyed by an industry that treated talent as disposable, health as irrelevant, and human beings as extractable resources to be discarded when their commercial value diminished. The pills weren't the disease. They were merely the symptoms of a system that continues destroying lives today, one prescription, one breakdown, one overdose at a time.